We're very grateful both in Blarney, and Rusheen for the chapel chaplain who look after and care for churches. And for this reason, the Centenary Committee has decided to invite this evening Miss Eileen Cronin to cut the cake on this occasion. And we give her a big round of applause, please. And we'd like to thank Eileen for the wonderful work that she did in preparing the church for this Centenary celebration. So if you go to the outside here, Eileen. Put your hands together now, please, and give her a big round of applause. Come on now, we'll give it a good push. Before don't cry, it's a bit hard, Riley. It is Riley. Thank you very much. Thanks, Eileen. Big round of applause, please. Now, shortly, you'll all be in your seats for this lovely cake. Fathers, Reverend sisters, Reverend brother, Reverend father, Reverend ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you all, and I hope that you enjoyed the meal, and I'm sure you did. A big round of applause for the staff and the hotel. Canon Barry White, who is looking forward to saying a few words to you on for your testimony. Give him a round of applause.
We give thee thanks, Almighty God, for these and for all the benefits that we have received from thy bounty. And especially on this occasion, Lord, we thank you for the blessings and benefits of the 100 years of education in Rusheen. We ask you to have mercy on the souls of the deceased teachers of Rusheen National School and all the deceased past students. May their souls and the souls of all the faithful of God have the Father, Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Reverend Chairman, Reverend Fathers, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe it's not very appropriate to begin on a mournful note of that kind, but I think it is an occasion for remembering the people who have made it possible for us to be here tonight. We have to thank not only the living but also the dead, and we do that in a spirit of Christian charity. I could tell you the mournful aspect of the thing a little bit further and say that, I remind you rather that this is the last night of our qualifications. Oh. Do you not realize that? You'll wake up tomorrow morning and you'll know what day you have, or will you? Maybe not. What I was meaning there was that I have been reaching the stage where I've been waking up and I really don't always know which day I have because of an upset program. Going to bed at odd times and coming and going and you don't know where you are. But I'm afraid that we will after tonight is over. And this could very well turn into an American wake or something like it if we are careful. And we mustn't allow that to happen. I am very pleased, ladies and gentlemen, very, very pleased to have a share in your celebrations over the weekend, both spiritual and social. It is a wonderful privilege for us to come back and find Rusheen in such good heart. We've been talking about the road to Rusheen and been learning a new song. The road to Rusheen used to be a bit of a cul-de-sac. If you took it, well, you had to try and turn your car, and you couldn't very well do it always with any great ease. And if you carried on, you found yourself at the foot of Cooper Rock, which was certainly a cul-de-sac. But now, have I said something wrong now? Nothing personal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a stranger, I'm afraid, among you, and there's nothing subtle, no subtle meaning in what I'm talking about. But anyway, you would have to turn back because you went off your way. If anybody did take the road to Rusheen during the past 3 days, I think they wouldn't have turned their car, but have pulled in and stayed. Because they would have found themselves among a very lively community of people. They would have found themselves in the midst of an original program of social events, spiritual and social, especially social, that were a credit to the organising committee. Obviously, people of vision and drive and imagination and intelligence. People who have given us a wonderful weekend. I personally can never give sufficient thanks for it. I have always loved Rusheen because I owed it so much. But in addition to loving it, I now can say that I am proud of it. You have sent us away with ash, with the wood ash in our hair and in our eyes. You have sent us away with a new song in our hearts, and with deep gratitude in our hearts too. All I can say is thank you, Rusheen, and well done. We're proud of you.
Thank you very much, Canon Barry, and thanks to all the trees who came back for this wonderful weekend. We're very grateful to you all. Big round of applause for everyone. We received a letter from Father Cochran in Nazareth House, and the letter was written on his behalf. He was unable to come. And he said, and the letter goes on to us, Father Cochran has asked me to write to thank you and your committee for your kind invitation to Rusheen Centenary, the celebration on the 10th of August. Father regrets very much that he will not be able to be present at your celebration. Please convey his heartiest congratulations and good wishes to all concerned in the organization of this local celebration. Big round of applause. Now, as well as that, today we know that Father Kelleher was at home last year, even though he did not attend the school in Rusheen, but he is a very great man who's been very helpful to Rusheen, and we remember him too in Africa. We welcome you, sisters. Thank you, sisters, for coming. We thank you with our hearts. And one nun wrote to us, Sister Governor, and she said, congratulations to you and all concerned on the project which you intend to produce in autumn. That's Sister O'Donoghue. And there's other posters, I think, here at the office, you can read them. So all the sisters, welcome and thank you. A round of applause for them. We welcome you too, Brother McCarthy, from the Blarney. You're very welcome to be here with us. Now we go on to the teachers. In Rusheen, as we know, we have two teachers. They're very shy. Eileen, Beefy, and Pasquale, and I wish to thank them tonight for being such good teachers. Give them a round of applause. And I'd like to welcome the other visiting teachers who are associated with Rusheen. We're delighted to have you here, and you're very welcome. I'll hand you over now to Pat Quinn, who would like to say a few words to you.
Thank you, Gordon. Right, Reverend Gordon, and Reverend brothers, sisters, and fellow past pupils, and classmates and friends. It's hard to believe that it's only 2 days ago that I welcomed you back to school in Rusheen. So much has been packed into the time in between. Now, any organisation may set up a stage, prepare the props, and get ready the meals and the refreshments, but it takes people to come, players, performers, to make an occasion of it. Now, this weekend, all of you have been the players, you have been the performers, and you made a wonderful occasion of our Centenary with them. I must say that to us. You performed magnificently, wonderfully, and unselfishly. You made a marvelous effort to come, many of you from very far away, to the part in all the activities. I don't know how you kept it up, and you were wonderful. I was also very impressed and very pleased that you were such a wonderful interest in the school record. So many of you wanted to see for yourself the day you arrived at the school, so full of cheers, perhaps, and hope. Some of you were only 3 years of age. I have to believe it, but that's all you were, many of you. That's what it said. And also the day you were expected to find out the day you left, making a new world. I found you all, like chatting to most of you during the weekend, I found you all a very normal, happy bunch of people. You didn't show any signs at all of complexes or neuroses or depression, which might result from a repressed upbringing in Rusheen National School. One lady I spoke to, she was, I think, typical of men. She said something like this: my daddy, she said, always filled me up with tales, horrific tales of anguish and tears. So, at school long ago, and I've come to collect the evidence. I have searched the books, she said. I have looked at the corporal punishment books, which go back to the start of the century. I have found every page of blank, all attested by eminent inspectors. I knew, she said, that he was only telling the army, that it was all childish imagining. Thank you all very much for making this weekend at Rusheen the most memorable one ever in our little school and in our little place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat and Eileen, and we wish you every God's blessing to you in the months and weeks ahead. Now, tonight we're sorry that Father O'Mahony is unable to be with us, and he made a very special effort to join us on Friday night, but he wants to wish you all well tonight, and indeed he has done great work and for an encouragement for the school in Rusheen, so we remember him. And as well as that, I think this night we should remember all the people of the parish of Ahena, because without Blarney, without Blarney and Carrigadrummond, it wouldn't be possible to spend money in the upkeep of Rusheen School. So we give praise to the all parish. We welcome all of you from all the hearts of the parish who have come tonight. A big round of applause for them. Now, as well as this, we have remembered, the committee has remembered, the past priests who were living and who were in the parish of Ahena. On Friday night, we had Father Hegarty and Father Brew, And tonight, as far as I can see, I see Father Michael Dorgan and Father Tony Cronin, and all the others who for some reason were unable to come tonight. We extend to you a very warm welcome, because Rusheen School has grown, and all the priests who have led up to this time have done great work, and we appreciate it. And I know that when I took on the work that followed the priests that came before me, that there was tremendous work done by every priest that came to the parish of Heath, and we welcome them, and we continue to bless them with the work in their parishes today. Amen. Now I asked Michael Dorgan tonight to say a few words to us. So I ask you, Michael, to say a few words, please. If you'd like to come up here.
This is an auspicious occasion, it goes without saying. So perhaps I should begin by addressing my fellow priests, sisters, the Mr. Principal, and Madam Assistant Mistress, I think. And also the members of the School Board of Management, ladies and gentlemen, the ladies and gentlemen of the Parents Committee, and indeed all the friends and past pupils, present, some of them still presently pupils of the school. And I know that there are a number of people who have travelled a long distance, which have given the occasion a sort of cosmopolitan quality by coming from America and England, and there have been greetings from other distant places as well, and deservedly so. I'm up here a bit under false pretenses, and this task was dropped on me just before the meal began, and I could say, like the parish priest might say, sometimes there's nothing prepared. But however, it's very much a labour of love to be up here, sentimental journey as it were, and to indeed compliment the committee and the organisers for a job well done, and really doing credit to 100 years of national primary education. And I must say that in 4 years, Rusheen has taken off. A lot of things have happened since I left. Nowadays, there are double glazed plastic windows, crash barriers, we're on television. If I'd known I was going to be on television, I'd have worn something colourful. The community in Rusheen is even getting radio play, as they call it. They've gone into publications and newspaper articles in a very big way. I'm not at all surprised, because in my all too brief association with the community in the parish of Ahina and in Rusheen, there were signs that there was a great store of latent talent, and it wasn't always latent, of musicians and historians and hagiographers and chancers. And somehow, because of the genius, as Father Barry White said, the inventiveness of this committee. They have pooled it all together and created a thing of great beauty, a terrible beauty, to quote the words. I was listening to the radio broadcast, and Pat Quill referred to the fact that Rusheen School can boast of a great crop of priests, ex-students. I think it says a lot for the excellence of the religious pedagogy which went on and still goes on. We can be certain that pupils of the present, as the pupils of the past, were assured of a great grounding in the rudiments of the faith and the art of becoming respectable citizens and first-class fathers and mothers.
All the praise. We ask God to bless you. Now, tonight, we are going to have a presentation. And I'm going to ask Canon here to make the presentation on behalf of the oldest living past pupil of Rusheen School. And her name is Julia Higgins, nee Julia Scanlon, who was age 13. She entered the 22nd of August 1905, age 13, on the, and had attended Blarney National School previously, and she left Rusheen School on 1909. And we're now going to ask her daughter, who's Mrs. Dinny, and she has travelled all the way from England to receive a special silver tray to honour this wonderful occasion. I'd ask Mrs. O'Jennings to please come forward.
Father Fitzgerald mentioned about this presentation, for a horrible moment I feared that I was the one that was going to get it. Mind you, I'm all in favour of presentations, but that's one that I'd rather prepare for a little while. Congratulations to you, to the good lady. It's a pity, Julia Higgins, I'm sure she'll be the lady.
Big round of applause, please. Now, Mrs. Jennings would like to say a few words.
And still she dreams of the warmth and joy of school. Cross paths and over streams, each day she made her way there. Like the rain, like the snow, she strode the 4 miles from her home. She travelled the little stream that somehow always drew her in. Though wet and tired, she reached her goal, where the sun seemed always there. Later, at her knee, her daughter's learned much she had gained at school. They in turn oft tell their sons of what she taught and of the run. Mary had a little lamb, became decided favourite. Now to Simon's bed, she dreamed, but thanks to the Rusheen here, her dreams are oftentimes happy. So she wants to thank her school, is so thrilled to think that she is remembered by you here. In spirit she is now with us, hoping that you young ones now see the sunshine that she found so many years ago.
Thank you very much, Mr. King. It was a nice travel. Thank you, and God bless you. Wish your mother every blessing. Now we would like today, and as well as Mrs. Jennings, we'd like to give you also a special certificate centenary celebration. Thank you very much. Now today, actually, we return from a special holy sacrifice of the Mass, which will be offered for today, all your intentions with God's blessing to Rusheen community, and it's by Neelis and Nellie Kyle, and it's given by Father J. Porter. Give them a big round of applause. Now there's so much to thank for us tonight. Before we say the number of thanks, we'd like to say a word to Aileen Toomey, the organising of tonight, please.
Reverend Father, Reverend Chairman, here, Reverend Fathers, sisters, brothers, ladies and gentlemen, neighbours and friends. Unlike Father Jordan, who was living joining me at all, my bombshell was dropped in the rest room, and I heard that they sending her the mic. I think I must have one of the chancellors from Rusheen who talked about earlier. I had no poems and praise or speeches or anything, so I just had to carry on to Blarney. All my job, I suppose, really at this stage would be to thank the many people, especially the past pupil priests and all the past priests of the parish, who gave their support and came and saw and helped out throughout the weekend, and it made it well worthwhile for us, because for a long time we were wondering if it was fun at all this bother and time and everything. And then, as the principal of the school was saying, it was you players who made everything worthwhile, and it was your participation that helped us and kept us going. And we probably all be in bed tomorrow. It's beside time. It's like to get through it. At this stage now, I'd like to thank Mrs. Jennings for coming all the way from England to collect the platter, and for Mrs. Roach for the beautiful cake she made, for the Denter here who's feeling really in, to everybody who contributed bunting, to the people in Castle Martyr who gave us so many of the buntings that we have decorated the school and the church with, the convent in Crome who lent us vestments and books, chairs and buntings again. I'm sure God has forgiven someone now. I suppose too we want to say a special word of thanks to Father Fitzgerald here who's flogged tonight. We'd also like to thank Maureen Looney and Mr. Milner, who gave us help with the booklet and everything else. We'd also like to thank Gertie for her wonderful work and the hours of work we put in. I'd also like to thank anyone who contributed photographs, etc., clothes, like that, and books, pottery, and everything else that went into our display in the school. We'd like to thank Peter Scandal who got some lots of historical data and documents for us, and also Crow Museum, who lent us some of their displays. We would like to thank Hotel Blarney for the wonderful meal they gave us and for their help in helping us organise it and their advice and putting up with us. We'd like to thank Colin Cronin for coming to play for us tonight. And the Blarney Daily Band, who provided us with entertainment on the Friday night. We'd also like to say a big thank you to Mr. Deputy for the past principal of our team, who brought us a beautiful vintage car for our sports day and also a nice racing beach for bicycles. Another person who contributed to our sports day today, Teddy Hubbard, with a lot of his Chinese crafts, and I think a lot of people found it very interesting, and we really appreciate the trouble that they went to help us out and to offer favours. We'd like to thank Laura McCarthy for flowers and for helping us out. We'd like to thank our chaplainwoman Eileen Cronin for the beautiful flowers and all the work and trouble she went to with the church. It looks beautiful for the occasion. We'd also like to thank Mrs. Jeff Gwynn for the beautiful flowers displays that she put up in the school. And just to finish up, we'd like to thank you all for coming here tonight and last night for a lot of you for dressing up. We were thrilled to have so many visitors who came to take the trouble to bring costumes, to dress up and to find something, and for adding to the atmosphere and for helping us all along. We'd like you to enjoy tonight, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all the members of the committee, everybody who helped in every way. May God reward you. And I want to say one thing tonight. We thank God for the way He's helped us. Give Him a round of applause. Thank you, and God bless, and enjoy the night. And John Fitzgibbon is asked to go to the phone. Thank you, and God bless.
I've got a beautiful girl. And first I saw the love light in your eye. I dreamt the world held naught but joy for thee. And even though we drifted far apart, I never dreamed but what I dreamed of thee. I love you as I never loved before. Since first I met you on the village green, oh, come to me, for my dream of love is o'er. I love you as I love you. Where are you, Ted? When you were sweet, when you were sweet, 16. Love. The ring home and the song in the air, the light and the iron and goodbye to care. For love, for all love, and the welcoming there. I love my heart, my own love. Tell me, oh love, of the glorious day, and speak of your friendship and joys of her day. Say, but it's glad to be wakened again, to find yourself nearer to my love. And it's love sitting home, a song in the air, the light in the eye, and it's goodbye to care. The love, the old love, and the welcoming there. I love my heart, my own love. Hey!
Okay. And welcome here to Hotel Blarney, to the scene of the Rusheen National School Centenary celebrations, and you might hear all the music and shouting going on inside, but here we have some very distinguished guests at this dinner here, and here on my right we have Dinny Lucy, and over here we have Father Pat O'Connell, and here we have a former teacher of the school, Mrs. Betty McSweeney, and of course these two gentlemen are past pupils. And I might ask Dinny Lucy first about the period when he went to school. Can he remember anything interesting from that period, or anything extraordinary from the time? He might even tell us when he was in school and when he left.
Yeah, well, as far as Rusheen School is concerned, my only claim to fame is that I started at the halfway stage. You might say that I came in at half time. I started in Rusheen on the 6th of June 1934. That's 50 years ago. There were no celebrations that year. Perhaps they didn't have anything to celebrate. I saw the roll book through courtesy of Pat Quill on Friday night, and indeed it was a revelation. 6 of us started in that year, I think that month. You know, if that roll were called now, I'm afraid, and I regret to say that some of the answers would come from very far away. There are only 3 survivors of the 6 of us that started in that year. It's sad to have to relate that. Nevertheless, it was very nice to see that bit of history. I appreciated the fact that history history has been preserved in Rusheen. I could see the date my father started, the day he went to school, the marks he got in his geography and arithmetic and grammar, the number of days that he attended through the years he attended. Now, that's certainly a bit of history, and I'm afraid I have a great liking for the past. Indeed, somebody said, I think it was our President Kennedy, said that a country without a history is like a man without a memory. Well, I say that Rusheen certainly has a memory. I feel that this weekend, it has been a tremendous weekend, and I must congratulate the organisers of this event. There's no doubt they put an awful lot of effort into it, and all I can say is that I hope that in the year 2084 that Rusheen School will stand and will celebrate its bicentenary, and I'm sure that the visitors will be arriving in spacesuits from nuclear power vehicles instead of ancient motor cars.
Very good, Denny. You mentioned there about that you were very interested in the past, and I must say that one of the highlights of the weekend for me was today seeing the vintage models which you brought to Rusheen, which are probably not seen there, maybe never seen there. The car and the 1884 bicycle. That was one of my highlights. Could you maybe pinpoint just one of the great highlights of the weekend for you? You were mentioning about the roll books. What was the best part of all the celebrations which went on from Friday until tonight?
Well, for me, I must say that it was the items which have been preserved and displayed in the school. I have to confess that I left the bonfire last night. I'm not great and that sort of thing, and I retired to the school, and I spent an hour or two looking at the books and the photographs and all the other data which you have. Peter Scanlon has rescued and displayed, and really I must say that made my weekend.
Very good. Thank you very much, Denny. If we might turn over here to Father Pat O'Connell, who also spent some great days in Rusheen School, no doubt, and he might care to relate to us some incidents or great times which he had there in his days in school.
Good morning, everyone. Here we are seated in Hotel Blarney. Let's hope that this will not be all Blarney, but we keep to facts and figures. I was there in the 5th decade. This is very appropriate when we speak about decades in my job. Don't get confused, I'm talking about the present century folk. And 40 to 48. And incidents, well, I just cannot think, no one comes uppermost to my mind. I left in 48 and went further afield, and now I'm here where I am. But the weekend, I think that's the big thing, isn't that right, Mr. Interviewer? Very good, yes, that's what you want to know about. It was a pleasure to come back, of course, and to come back to the old alma mater, and to meet people, I suppose, that some of us haven't met with the last 40 years. And it's about 40 years since I was in Rusheen School, and you know, it all comes back again in one fell swoop. Time means nothing. The school stands still, and we come and go. But of course, I've kept in touch through my holidays and so on in Rusheen, you know, with the old school and with the churches, of course, and everything like that, and with the people. But the coming together was marvelous. The conviviality, the exuberance that was displayed there by everybody, and the fun and all the fun of the fair from Friday night until tonight. It has been a hectic weekend. There's no wonder people are falling under the strain. I'm still keeping myself up, as Gerard here is with you. And but the point is, tonight, of course, is the end. But let's hope that it's only the beginning of future days ahead. And as somebody said, that we have to try and think of some excuses, to have a centenary again. But since Friday night, since the first mass there, the concelebrated mass, and then of course the unveiling of the plaque, and the meal in the school, and then browsing around, as Dennis Lucy said, looking at the records, the registers and so on, it all came back so vividly to our minds. It seemed only like yesterday. And then of course the dance that night, and then yesterday, Saturday, we had the marvellous, of course, video showing of many events around Rusheen in recent weeks, and some up-to-date events. And of course, last night we had the bonfire, the fancy dress, and everything ran off so smoothly. Even though it was well organised, things did happen, I suppose, spontaneously, and everybody cooperated and helped. There was a great air of joy and happiness. And let's hope this will last, of course, forever and evermore. It's a pity that it has to come to an end. And as Father Canon Barry said tonight, it is a pity this thing has to come to an end, something we all enjoyed, and getting together as a family. And this community spirit was very prevalent. And this has been emphasized over and over again in all reunions, but especially in the celebration that we have been celebrating this weekend in Rusheen. We're here in Blarney tonight, a bit away from home, but as I said in the beginning, let's hope this is not all Blarney. I really mean it. We will leave with many happy memories, with joy in our hearts, and kind thoughts, and fond remembrances of what happened, of the people we met, of what we saw, and what we experienced this weekend. 1984. Roll on 2084. Who knows, we might be here. We'll be here in spirit. Thank you, Mr. Interviewer. Gerard, isn't it? Thank you.
That's right, Father. Thank you very much, Father Pat, for that summing up of the whole weekend's activities. Now, the two gentlemen I've been speaking to have been past pupils, and I'm sure it was very nostalgic and great occasion for them to come back. But it must have been slightly different here for Mrs. McSweeney, because she was coming back as a past teacher, and I'm sure it must also have been a bit nostalgic for her when she walked in the door. Would I be right in that, Mrs. McSweeney?
It certainly was, Gerard. I was teaching here from 1967 to 75, and I must say I had very good years here. I enjoyed it. The children were marvellous, and it's lovely to see them all now grown up and doing well, and really I'm very proud of them all.
Very good. And if you were asked to pick a highlight, I know it's very hard to pick highlights of a good weekend, but Father Pat listed out everything we had now. I'm sure you must have enjoyed something more than all the rest. Like Dinny here said, he enjoyed the history and the roll books to a great degree. How about yourself? Was there anything you particularly enjoyed?
I think I have to say that the choir singing at Mass on Friday evening impressed me most of all. I thought they were really beautiful, and a great credit to everybody involved. They were really lovely.
Of course, Mr. McSweeney, you had a big part in laying the foundations of the choir there. I remember when I was very small, and Mr. McSweeney used to come out from Macroom doing choir practice with us, and she really set the whole thing going. So it must have been very proud altogether for you, so, because when you were the beginning of it, let's say.
Well, I'm afraid my efforts that time couldn't compare at all to what you're doing at present. You're really great.
Okay, Mr. McSweeney, thank you very much indeed. Thank you all.
Jim Mooney, you're a Waltham, Massachusetts cop. What's a Waltham, Massachusetts cop doing in the Blarney Hotel?
Well, I'm kind of fortunate, I suppose. I married a girl from Rusheen, and we're here on the Centennial. I suppose you call it Centenary, don't you?
Yeah, we call it Centenary. Centennial, you say?
Centennial, that's right.
Yeah. What centenary? What centenary are you talking about?
The Rusheen Centennial. Yeah.
And your wife is a past pupil of the school?
That's right, yeah. She went to school here, and
yeah, hold on.
This is where she was smart enough to get me. She learned how to get me over through the school, I suppose, you know.
You didn't meet in Ireland, did you?
No, we didn't. No. We met in Central Square in Waltham. Yeah.
Sheila, you're a past pupil of the school. You met Jim in Waltham.
That's right, yeah.
How long have you been married?
28.
And how many children have you?
7 children.
Now, How old is the eldest, the oldest child?
Should be 27 now.
Have they any interest in their roots in Rusheen?
Oh yes, they often talk about Rusheen. They were all in Rusheen, different occasions. One year we brought the 7 of them, and they all enjoyed it very much. They still talk about it, and you know.
Do you think they have any intention? Will they have any interest in the celebrations we are having at the moment? Would they be interested in hearing how the thing is going here?
Oh, they sure will. When I'll go back, they'll be all, because they know that's why we really came on this occasion. Yeah.
Jim, you've been in America now since you were a born American. Now, what do you think of this country?
Oh, I think it's great. A very freewheeling people, like, you know.
What do you mean by freewheeling?
Well, congenial, I suppose. Very friendly, you know. Every place you go, they're happy people, you know. Very happy.
Do you think they take life seriously, or do?
Oh, I'm sure they have their problems, but they don't show it that much, you know. I think their spirit. I think their spirit is what it is about them, you know. Nothing seems to get them down, you know.
Yeah, you told me one time the American system, there's a lot of work. There's hardly any time for you work all the time. Whereas here we seem to relax more. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. That's one thing that.
What's the main difference between life in America and life in Rusheen as you've seen it?
Well, from what I've seen, of course, I'm seeing it on a festive occasion, I suppose. But they don't seem to get up as early as we do. I know that. And they go to bed a heck of a lot later. I know that also.
Yeah, but what time do you go to bed at home? What time do you get up?
Well, I get up about 6. Matter of fact, we all get up about 6, man, the kids, and, you know, and then we go about our business, you know, and then we come home, and it's probably about all around 10:30 after the news. That's about it. We go to bed.
Which type of life would you prefer? That's an unfair question. Let's have an answer anyway.
Well, I prefer the life I'm living right now, I'll tell you.
Well, Jim, on that note, I think we'll leave it. Thank you very much. Father Michael Doggan, former curate of Ahina Parish, was living in the Rusheen area and has now gone from the parish some 4 years. Father, what do you think of the Rusheen School Centenary celebration?
Well, firstly, on my own behalf, it's a great joy to be here, surrounded by many of my former neighbours, and also to see that the ideas which perhaps were being mooted at that time in the Board of Management and filtering through to the Parents Committee, that they may see him to have been a bit of a dream at that time. I'm glad to say that they have become a reality, and I'm very happy that it has happened. I think it's a great boost for the local community. I think in a small community where the quality of life can be somewhat at times confined and introverted, the influx of many visitors, former past pupils from faraway places, America and England, and even up the country, is, I think, a great boost of confidence, and is something that the community can savour for many years to come.
If you had been involved in organising this celebration, would you do it anyway? Is there anything you would do that would be different?
Well, that's a difficult one, but maybe 4 years ago I would have said that you could have improved on this and that. But now I would say that the apprentice has in many ways surpassed the master at his craft, and it's amazing that there are new tricks and schemes of entertainment which have been dreamt up, which I certainly never considered. So it's a great joy to me that the inventiveness, and I would think perhaps the ability of the community to reflect on the experiences of life and to learn from them is something which is very much on the go at the present time.
Now, one final question, Father. What do you think the main effect of these celebrations will be? Will it last? Do you think people will benefit from the way the celebration has been carried out, or will they just forget about it and go back to the old system again?
Well, I think one could be very harsh in judging the effect of the experience, but I would think that it's very hard to sustain such a very high, concentrated, well-prepared, involving experience like this for a long period of time. I would see the effects as perhaps being less visible, having more an effect on the interest of the parents involved with the kids, the teachers, the morale of the school, and I would think for the general public more of awareness of the important place that a school has in a small community, that it becomes a kind of nucleus of young people's development, a centre where people can meet. And I think an important thing relating back to the booklet, that you have here now a very valuable archive which has collected together the experiences, the records dating back to the foundation of the school, so that any future research and development in the school will be made that much easier. So I would see those as being the principal values and the important things, which are in themselves, I think, a permanent achievement, even if nothing much were to happen. Obviously, as I say, people cannot go on living at this very busy, intense level, which I'm sure must be very demanding.
Well, indeed, I suppose we could hardly sustain the same level of activity, but I do agree that those comments are valid, and we do hope that the interest created by the celebrations will enable the people to remember and maybe have a little more awareness and interest in their school from here on in. Thank you, Father, for talking to us. Earlier this evening, we presented a plaque and a certificate to Mrs. Patricia Jennings, who received it on behalf of her mother, Mrs. Julia Higgins, who lives in England and was unable to come herself to receive the plaque. Now, Mrs. Jennings, how does it feel to come over on a journey of that kind to Rusheen to receive a plaque on behalf of your mother?
Well, I must say I was very honoured, and I was delighted to get the invitation because my relations knew, of course, that my mother wouldn't be able to come. But I know she would have been thrilled, of course, to come back to her old school. I know the headmaster mentioned that they don't want to come back, but I know my mother would. Because she loved her years at school, yes.
Have you ever heard your mother speak of her memories of Rusheen?
Well,
and the school in Rusheen?
Only of recent days, really. She had a dream of her old school. She hadn't heard about the invitation, and she did have a dream of a lovely little schoolroom, very sunny, little chairs and tables, and it was obviously she just loved those years. Yes, I got that impression.
Now, Miss Jennings, your mother has received a certificate as being the oldest past pupil in the school. How would she feel about that?
Well, she wouldn't have believed it, really. It wouldn't have crossed her mind, I suppose. And she wouldn't have believed that her old school would still be standing, I would imagine. Very surprised at that. And I must say I was impressed by it. It was a lovely hall and a lovely things altogether about it. It was just beautiful.
Now, it's been a long time since your mother left Rusheen.
Yeah.
What has happened to her since? What has she been doing since? And how did she finish up in England where she lives now?
Well, I think she left here, I suppose, when she was 18. I think
that was the time she left Rusheen school.
Yes.
And she started going to school.
She was going to go on to teacher training somehow or other. She didn't manage it, and she went mental nursing in Cork. Then she went on to Scotland. Then she moved across down to London, Roehampton, and I think most of her years were spent in Roehampton, private nursing.
And that's where she lives now. That's where you come from. That's your home place.
That's my birthplace, London, yeah.
And now, the plaque, this is the plaque which was presented. It's inscribed Rusheen National School 1884-1984 and it's presented to Julia Higgins. Do you think your mother would have liked to come herself had she been able? I know...
Definitely, yes, because she loved travelling, you know, obviously she went on her own to England, so obviously she would have, if she could have done, she would have come, yes.
And how is your mother keeping at the moment? Is she in good health?
Very good health, eating well, and very happy, but she's had a fall, fractured her leg in 2 places, so she couldn't have travelled at all, you know.
Yeah, well, when you go back, will you tell her that we wish her every happiness and that she has that she may live in as many more years again. We were delighted that we've that we've had the occasion to present her with the plaque.
I think she'll have her own centenary in the end. Yes, I think she will live to 100.
And what age is she now herself?
93.
Well, let's hope that she does reach the centenary. And thank you very much, Mr. Jennings, for talking to us.